I now introducing this afternoon's starting lineups. First for the visiting Johnsonville Charlotte Wildcats. At guard, a 6'2" junior from Cape Coral, Florida. Number 2, Brandon Kostick. At guard, a 6-foot senior from Raleigh, North Carolina. Number 3, Malik Bullock. At forward, a 6'3" senior from Columbia, South Carolina. Number 1, Marley Poole. At forward, a 6'5" senior from Huntersville, North Carolina. Number 11, Robert Hobson. And at forward, a 6'7" senior from Covington, Georgia, number 33, Antonio Smith. Head coach of the Wildcats is Dan Larkin.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting set for game number 2 of this afternoon's doubleheader here at the Apprentice School Athletic Center on the campus of Newport News Shipbuilding right here in the heart of Newport News, Virginia. Once again, I am Howard McCain. Sekou Fry is our engineer producer, and as you can hear behind me, the starting lineups are being introduced for both the men's from the Apprentice School and the Wildcats from Johnson and Wales out of Charlotte, North Carolina. This is a huge game this evening for the Apprentice School men. Ladies and gentlemen, they are playing the number 1 team in the EMAC Conference. Also the team ranked number 1 in the USCAA. Yes, that is the 20-3 Wildcats of Johnson and Wales University as they come into here to take on our Apprentice School men. Both teams have been introduced, and again, a lot to play for Coach Tim Sparks in his first year at the helm for the men of the Apprentice School. The men come into this afternoon's game with an overall record of 13-10 and an impressive conference record of 5-1. Dan Larkin, on the other hand, in his second season at the helm for the Wildcats, he brings in his team. They come with an overall mark of 20-3. Folks, they are undefeated in the conference. Now, this is a up-tempo basketball team, so look for a lot of running to happen this afternoon in this game as Marion Moore and Antonio Smith square off at center court, ready to tip this basketball game off. Again, a huge one this afternoon for the Apprentice men when it comes to seeding in the conference, and we are underway. The Apprentice School men win the tip. Corey Joyner with the basketball. He is joined on the floor in the starting lineup with Marion Moore, Drew Walton, Brandon Joyner, and Avon Hawkins are the starting lineup for the home men as the shot clock now is at 8. Drew Walton makes the move into the lane, able to get the right-handed shot to go down, and the men open up the scoring 2-0 over the visiting Wildcats of Johnson and Wales. The officials for this afternoon's game are Marquell Green, Kyle Regertz, and Chris Pollock. And I will give you the starting lineup for the visiting Wildcats as the first shot by Antonio Smith is up and good. So Antonio Smith will be joined on the floor as the I believe that's going to be a turnover. Yes, the Builders with the early turnover. So Antonio Smith is joined on the floor by Robert Hobson, Malik Bullock, Brandon, I believe that's Kostick, and Marley Poole. Bullock with the basketball gives to Kostick. Long. Three-point shot up and good for Marley Poole. So the Wildcats now have a 5-2 lead over the home Builders. Joyner with the give to Moore. Moore up against the man-to-man defense. Joyner off of a screen to Brandon. Long three-point shot goes down. And we're tied 5-5, 18-23 remaining. Again, this is going to be a fast-paced, up-tempo basketball game. Johnson and Wales, they like to run. So don't look for them to do a lot of sets in the half court. As soon as that rebound comes off, they want to get out and they want to try to sprint. They want to try to sprint and spread the floor for shots. As Joyner challenges the defense and wins. 7-5. Builders now with the lead over the Wildcats. Their leading scorer with the basketball is Robert Hobson. Robert Hobson coming in, averaging 20.6 a contest as Johnson and Wells able to clean up the offensive glass with the putback for two, and we're tied 7-7. These Wildcats come in averaging about 93 points per game. Avon Hawkins, strong move to the basket and the finish. Builders with a 9-7 lead. Here's Hobson, guarded closely, unable to convert. Drew Walton does what he does best, rebound. Dangerous inlet pass is collected and put in by Marion Moore. Now the Builders have an 11-7 lead over Johnson and Wells. These teams, no stranger to one another. They've already played each other. They actually played each other at Johnson and Wells in Charlotte, where the Wildcats were able to come away with an 88-80 win as Antonio Smith's shot rims out. Here comes Joyner. Joyner forces the issue with the left hand, unable to convert. And there's going to be a foul call on Antonio Smith. And Antonio Smith came across the face of Joyner with an elbow. So that's going to be a foul call. So that'll be his first personal foul and the team's first. I think the coach is saying there was a little bit of acting going on there, and if it was, I still give Joyner the Academy Award anyway. Marion Moore misses. Score stays 11-7 as Hobson is fouled, and he hits the three. So not only does this team like to get up and down the floor quickly, they like to launch a lot of threes. As you can see there, Hobson able to drain the three. He's bodied on the play by Marion Moore. Again, Marion Moore, 6'5", goes somewhere, got to be around about 230. So if you get fouled by him, you are going to feel it. Hobson able to convert the 4-point play, and we're tied 11-11. Last time these teams played, of course, Johnson and Wells came away with the victory, and the men from the apprentice school have not lost since. And they finally call the foul on the Wildcats. That's going to go on Malik Bullock, who was constantly pushing Brandon Joyner on the hip as he was making his way to the basket. They finally called the foul. Brandon asking, wasn't I in the act of shooting? The officials say no. So the Builders were inbound. Here's Joyner in the corner. Hawkins being guarded by Bullock. Hawkins tries to give it off to Marion Moore. Moore not ready for the pass. Kick out to Hobson. Three, drained. So the Builders now trail by 3, 14-11. And it's going to be important for the Builders to not play the style of play that Johnson and Wells plays. The Builders' responsibility is to get Johnson and Wells to play Builder basketball. As Avon Hawkins misses, Drew Walton there with the putback. No good, ball tipped around, slapped around, controlled by the Wildcats. And the inlet to Marley Poole is put down. So the Wildcats now with a 16-11 lead again. They want to play fast-paced. They want to play up-tempo. So it's up to the Builders to play their brand of basketball. Marion Moore short, able to corral his own rebound. Strong move after the miss, and he's fouled. That is going to be on Antonio Smith. That is a second personal foul. So Antonio Smith is going to have to see some bench after picking up 2 quick fouls in a little over 5 minutes. So Marion Moore will shoot 2. We're shooting about 63% from the free throw line as a team, as Caleb Molesky makes his way onto the floor. And so does Zarian Wilkins. So Zarian Wilkins makes his way into the ball game for Antonio Smith for Johnson & Wales, who has to take a seat. I want to say that should have been last touched by the Wildcats. And the officials say that it wasn't. So Marion Moore makes 1 of 2, and it makes our score 16-12 Wildcats over the Builders. 4-point lead. Shot short. Offensive rebound corralled by Bullock, and he is fouled. So that'll be on Drew Walton. That'll be his first personal foul. That'll be the second team foul. And that'll put Malik Bullock at the free throw line to shoot 2. Bullock coming in the assist leader for the Wildcats. 3 assists per game. 17-12 our score. Wildcats over the Builders make it 18-12. 14:28 remaining in the first half. Wildcats already have a couple of scores with 7 apiece. As Drew Walton goes to work in the lane, able to finish. 18-14 our score. Wildcats with a 4-point lead. Hobson likes to shoot the 3. Very athletic and long team. As a 3, no good. So again, get used to that this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. These guys like to shoot the 3, as Marion Moore wasn't really sure what he wanted to do with the basketball, but Caleb Molesky did. He's able to clean up the offensive glass for 2. So 18-16 is our score. Builders down by 2. Now they're going to call that on Drew Walton as Kostick made his way into the lane, put a shoulder into Marion Moore, drew the contact, and was able to put the basket in for 2. And that pushes the Wildcat lead to 20-16 as Bullock steps to the line to try and complete the 3-point play. Rashawn Ely and Sam Morris make their way into the contest for the Builders as the free throw is good. So 21-16, 5-point lead by the Wildcats. 13:28 left in the first half here at the Apprentice School Athletic Center. Nice crowd on hand to view this afternoon's basketball game as Caleb Molesky is harassed. They're going to give that foul to P.J. Gill, who's new into the ball game for the Wildcats. As we get a stoppage and play quickly, a little bit of jostling going on on the side of the lane from number 2 and Caleb Molesky. The officials are telling them to knock it off. Builders able to inbound to Drew Walton, who works, finds Ely on the cutter. Ely misses. Wildcats able to clear. Here's Hobson. Jump ball is the call, and the possession arrow is in favor of the Wildcats, so nice job of defense that time by Ely to tie up Hobson. 21-16 is our score still. Here's Hobson for 3. Ely with the weak side rebound. Here comes Joyner. Builders slow things down, work it into their half-court offense as Sam Morris tries to split the defense, nearly traveled. Ely, strong move, unable to finish again. But the Builders able to track down the loose ball with the shot clock at 15. Ely, correction, Molesky, wild shot, misses Last touch, I believe, by the Builders. So 21-16, our score is still 12:33 remaining. The visiting Wildcats with 14 fouls, Builders with 3. Neither team has taken a timeout yet, as they're going to call an offensive foul on Fred Patterson, and deservedly so. He put his shoulder right into the chest of Caleb Molesky, so a nice job by Molesky of moving his feet on defense to stay just slightly ahead of the dribbler. Here's Ely. Ely with the shot off the glass and good. Thought there might have been a whistle to go along with that 2 points, but nothing coming. 21-18 is the score. Wildcats in the lead, and they extend it. Zarian Wilkins drains a 3. 24-18 is our score. Ely loses the basketball. Tie up underneath. Now, one official did call a jump ball, and if that is the case, then the possession arrow will be in favor of the home Builders. So far, this game is exactly what we envisioned it to be. It's been an up and down affair. 24-18, Wildcats over the Builders. As Drew Walton loses the basketball, but gets it right back on the turnover. Here's Morris. Morris wisely backs it out, and the Builders reset their offense. Walton on the double team. Somebody is open somewhere. Walton unable to find him. Here's Hobson. Step back 3 is good. So 27-18 now. Builders trail just that quick by 9. 11 minutes left in the first half of action. A lot of basketball still left to be played here, as Molesky works against the man-to-man defense of the Wildcats. 15 seconds on the shot clock, Ely. Loose ball controlled by Morris. Shot clock now at 8. Here's Morris. Cut off and foul. That foul will be on Kostick. I'm sorry. So for Corey Kostick, for Brandon Kostick, I'm sorry, that'll be his, I believe, his first personal foul. I thought that was his second. It's his first. That's only the 6th team foul. Nice job that time by Caleb Molesky for the cutter, and the layup is good, and he is fouled. So that makes the score now 27-20, Wildcats over the Builders. And Molesky with an opportunity to trim this Wildcat lead to 6. And Molesky knocks it down. So 27-21 our score. Builders trailing by 2 possessions to the number 1 ranked team in the USCAA, the Johnson & Wales Wildcats. As Molesky gets the block. Here come the Builders, running, Ely, into Hobson. No foul call. Now they finally call it. As you can see, Hobson plays with a lot of emotion. So that'll be Hobson's first to go along with 10 points in the ball game. Hobson stands about 6'5", so when those arms get extended away from his body, it's difficult to not see him commit a foul, as Ely pulls the string on the first free throw, and it comes up short.
C.J. Miller now against the Wildcats.
C.J. Miller onto the floor for the Wildcats as Ely set to attempt the second, and he drains it. 27-22 our score, Wildcats with the lead. Wildcats are pretty much controlled throughout as Hobson drains the long-range 3. Again, he comes into this afternoon's game as their leading scorer. Sam Morris comes back with a 3 of his own and misses. 30-22 our score, Wildcats leading by 8. Wildcats able to find the cutter along the baseline, but C.J. Miller unable to convert. Here come the Builders. Joyner shot, blocked. Finds Ely on the cut. Shot up and good, and a foul. So Rashawn Ely with the bucket and one at the 9:31 mark. He goes back to the free throw line. P.J. Gill with the foul. That is his second. That's the team's ninth. So the Builders will be in the bonus the remainder for the 9:31 remaining in the first half. And Ely gets a shot to trim this Wildcat lead to 5. 30-24. Wildcats have pretty much controlled this basketball game on the heels of 13 points by Hobson, who again comes into this afternoon's contest as the leading scorer for the Wildcats at 20.3 points per game, and he's already mostly there. Builders try to turn up the defensive pressure a little bit as the long three-point shot comes off weak side rebound to Corey Joyner, and he is fouled. So he'll be fouled by C.J. Miller, and for C.J. Miller, that's his second. No correction, that's going to be his third.
Number 12, P.J. Gill, his third.
So for P.J. Gill, that's his third personal foul. So that sort of takes away a part of the Wildcat bench. So what the Builders want to do is they want to try, they're going to change that foul. The foul was originally called on P.J. Gill, but instead they're going to switch it to C.J. Miller. So it comes off of number 12, and the foul goes on to number 23. So what that means is that P.J. Gill only has 2 fouls instead of 3. As Joyner knocks down the first of 2. 30-26 is our score. Make it 30-27. 9:14 left in the first half as Nate Downs makes his way into the ball game for the Builders. Caleb Molesky against Hobson. Hobson able to actually create his own shot. Tries the hard inlet pass to Poole, who's unable to handle it. Molesky misses. Hobson clears the rebound. They may want to pick up defense on him as quickly as they can because Hobson likes to shoot. Nice closeout defense right there by the Builders, and there's a foul in the backcourt. Oh, no foul. I believe that was a traveling violation. Or did they call a jump ball? They called a jump ball. I didn't see that here on courtside, folks. If you saw it at home, you're more than welcome to text in or call in to the school, but I missed it. And now a foul is going to be called. I believe that's going to be on Rashawn Ely. So that'll be his first personal foul to go along with his 6 points in the basketball game. This is going to be a very interesting basketball game to watch as we come down the stretch. And Ely is quickly called for his second foul. I thought they let Ely get away with the contact early in the possession right at midcourt, but Ely continued to press the issue, and they finally called his second foul, so he'll see the bench. Avon Hawkins will make his way into the ball game. Johnson Wells back on the attack, 15 seconds on the shot clock. Here's Wilkins and Poole. Dish came off to Williams. Thought Hobson went over the back there on that rebound, but they didn't call it. Here's Joyner. Joyner to the rack. Shot no good. Downs works and is fouled. That foul call will go on Zarian Wilkins. So for Zarian Wilkins, That is his second personal foul to go along with his 3 points. So Nate Downs steps to the line to shoot 2. That's now 10 team fouls for the Wildcats. So for the remaining 8 minutes and 3 seconds, the Builders will be shooting the double bonus. As Downs once again pulls the string on the first of 2. Kind of see a little bit of a hitch right there in this release. And the free throw comes up short. And the second of 2 is too strong. So a fruitless trip down the floor score-wise for the Builders. Wildcats back on the attack. Long 3-point miss. Molesky to Joyner. He likes the corner 3. Rebound comes off to the Wildcats, and they're running. Builders have to pick up the ball handler quickly. This is the style of play that Johnson and Wales excels at, and that's getting out on the break. So it's going to be important defensively for someone to step up, redirect the ball handler, and get him out of rhythm. Avon Hawkins with the tough 2. So 32-29, Builders right there, only down by 3 is Hobson. Long, high arcing 3-point shot, and that is his 16th point of the game, and he plays with a lot of confidence. Builders turn it over. Hobson tracks it down, shoots. And then foul underneath on the putback, or attempted putback by Nate Downs. Now, everyone who is watching this basketball game, if you're not familiar with the term green light in basketball, then watch Hobson. Hobson obviously has the green light from the coaching staff, and what that means is he can shoot the ball anytime he gets ready. And judging by some of these 3-pointers that have gone down for him off of a high arcing 3-point shot, first of all, he has the capacity and the talent to be able to create his shot. So he doesn't have to run off of a lot of screens or anything like that. He can create his own shot, and when he does, they're high percentage. So he has the green light from his basketball team. So again, it is going to be up to the Builders to find him and body him quickly in the possession. 37-29 is our score. Wildcats lead by 8. Here's Joyner. Foul off of the screen. So that'll go on Drew Walton. That'll be his second personal foul. Nate Downs came out of the game. Now he's back into the game for Drew Walton, who will sit with those 2 personal fouls. 6:31 left in the first half. So Caleb Molesky draws the defense on Hobson. And the Builders allow C.J. Miller to slide through for the easy layup. Had a little bit of an issue with the shot clock, so we're going to get that reset to 27 seconds as the Builders go back on the attack, trailing now by 10, 39-29, here at the Apprentice School Athletic Center. So glad you could join us. Wherever you are, Joyner's shot is blocked by Miller. Back come the Wildcats as Hobson passes up the 3-point attempt. Able to get inside to draw the foul, I believe, on Caleb Molesky. So that'll be the first personal foul on Caleb Molesky, the 8th team foul on the Builders is Hobson, who already has 16. And it'll stay right there. Again, Hobson comes in averaging 20.3 for the visiting Wildcats. Drew Walton is the leading scorer on average for the Builders at 15.6 points per game. Hobson with his 17th point. And the Wildcat lead now is 11. 6 minutes left in the first half. Joyner with the basketball. 15 seconds on the shot clock as he gives it off to Nate Downs. Ely. Down low to Downs. Downs works. Loses the basketball forces a shot, nothing there. Wildcats are running and converting. So 42-29 is the score. Builders now down by 13. Molesky with the basketball, working against the man-to-man defense. Here's Ely. Builders need to convert. Miss. Nate Downs misjudged the rebound. And the Wildcats are running again. Nice hand that time of getting in on the defense was Avon Hawkins. Here's Ely. Ely. Kick to Hawkins. Long three-point shot misses. Wildcats with the basketball. Here's Bullock. Poole. Misses. Hawkins clears. Hawkins to the rack. He's fouled. Shot. Oh! Shot comes off the rim. Once again, a torrid pace of play by both teams. And this style of play tends to favor the Wildcats a little bit more as Hawkins steps to the line to try to cut into this 13-point lead, and he cuts it to 12. So the longer the Builders get out and running, the more of an advantage that gives to the Wildcats because that's the style of play they want to play with. As Hawkins drains both, and he cuts the lead now to 11. 4:35 remaining as Hobson works against Molesky. Good job of coming over and doubling him was Nate Downs. As these guys move the ball around the perimeter very well, Ely with the offensive board. Here's Ely. Ely, I don't know if he got his shot blocked. He may have, but there's a foul, I think. No, ball was just tapped out of bounds, so the possession stays with the Builders. 22 seconds on the shot clock, 4:12 remaining in the first half as Hawkins backs it out. 15 seconds on the shot clock to Joyner. Downs comes to set the screen for Corey Joyner, I apologize. Joyner off balance. They said no shot, but he will shoot 2 foul shots. He's fouled by C.J. Miller. So for C.J. Miller, that is his second personal foul as we have a Builder that's down. I believe that's Joyner. So we're going to take a 30-second timeout. Tim Sparks calls a 30-second timeout. So I'm not altogether sure what happened to Joyner. He does come up limping just a little bit. We're at the 3:54 mark of the first half. 42-31 is our score. Joyner may have taken a knee to the thigh. And if you've never experienced that before, folks, I tell you, that hurts really, really bad. And once again, we want to say thank you to Bayport Credit Union for all that they do for partnering with Builder Athletics. They have been with Builder Athletics for years, and the partnership has been first rate. So thank you once again to Bayport Credit Union for all they do for Builder Athletics. But right now, here at the 3:54 mark of the first half, this has been the basketball game we thought it would be. Up and down pace of play, up and down the court. That is the type of play that Johnson and Wales plays with, and it's got them to the tune of a 20-3 record, 6-0 in the conference. So the more they run up and down the court, the more that plays into the type of play that the Wildcats want to run in this basketball game. If you are the Builders, you want to slow things down, work your offense, and try to get a shot going towards the basket in hopes of possibly converting the basket and getting the foul, getting to the clock, getting to the line with the clock stopped. So the Builders have their work cut out for them here in the first half. You want to try to get this lead under double digits if you can, heading into the locker room to take some momentum in there with you. Both teams are back on the floor from the timeout. Let's see how things play out. Joyner is back on the floor, limping slightly, so he will take the 2 free throws on the heels of the foul that was called on C.J. Miller. He now has 2. Again, unless it was knee to knee or knee to thigh, Joyner is going to give it another go. And if you've never experienced the pain that comes along with getting someone else's knee driven into your thigh, trust me, it's pretty difficult to come back from, as Brandon misses the second of two. So the lead is now at 10, 42-32, Wildcats of Johnson & Wales. Pretty much controlled throughout as Hobson out of the corner hits. So Hobson now has 20 in the first half. He's already reached his average per game. And the Wildcats now lead 45-32 as Ely misses, but Avon Hawkins, Nate down with the putback off of the Hawkins miss.
Good job, way to score that.
Here's Hobson, guarded by Molesky off the screen. Finds Miller. Didn't travel, just strong. So 13 is the lead, excuse me, for the Wildcats. 2:45 remaining in the first half. Shot clock at 18 as Ely has it poked out of bounds by Caustic. Brandon Joyner makes his way into the ball game, along with Drew Walton. So Nate and Avon Hawkins will take a seat. 2:41 left in the first half. Shot clock at 17. Drew Walton, step back. Rims out. So 47-34 is our score. Hobson with 20, trying to make it 23. Rebound poked out. And we have a blocking foul, I believe. And we get a technical foul call. So the technical foul call is going to be called on C.J. Miller for, I guess in a sense, mouthing off to the official about a foul call.
Full foul, Drew Walton, number 20, his third, team's ninth. 23, C.J. Miller, his third personal.
So a double foul is called on Drew Walton and C.J. Miller,
that's his fourth personal.
which, in the opinion of this play-by-play guy, is a bit of a waste of time. Someone had to commit the foul. It couldn't have been both guys committing a foul at the same time. So I'll never understand the whole purpose of the double foul, but as it goes, Drew Walton will receive a personal. C.J. Miller will receive a personal. So as C.J. Miller was walking away, the official mentioned something to him. C.J. Miller mouthed off to the official, and C.J. Miller was assessed a technical foul. So for C.J. Miller, that technical foul goes down as a personal foul as well. So for him, he now has 4 total fouls in the game. And Drew Walton now has 3. So that was a costly possession. Not only for the Wildcats, but for the Builders as well, as the technical free throws are being taken now by Joyner. He made the first, and he makes the second. So that adjusts our score now 47-36, Wildcats with an 11-point advantage. And the basketball not only was awarded to the Builders for the technical free throws, but possession also goes to the Builders. So they have an opportunity to cut into this Wildcat lead by either 4 or 5 points as we get closer to the halftime locker room. Here's Joyner. 20 seconds on the shot clock, 2:15 remaining in the first half. Skip pass to Brandon. 3-point shot is good. So a 5-point trip down the floor for the Builders. And now the lead is 8. Now, was it lost out of bounds? Nope, they called a foul. That foul is going to go on Brandon Joyner. That foul is called on Brandon Joyner.
For the Wildcats shooting 2 shots.
So Malik Bullock makes his way to the free throw line. He's going to shoot 2 as Tim Sparks and one of the officials continue to have words with one another. The official is telling Tim Sparks he needs to stay in the coach's box as Bullock hits the first of 2. So the lead is back up to 9. Lead is now 10. 1:53 remaining. Builders need to try and keep this deficit under double digits heading into the locker room. As Joyner works against the defense. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Here's Joyner working off of a screen. Joyner not finding anywhere to penetrate. Finds it now, gets to the rack and misses. He did absolutely everything right to get all the way to the rim, but just unable to finish. Here's Bullock. Step through. Layup good. 51-39, Builders. Molesky foul. That is going to go on Zyrian Wilkins. So for him, that is his 3rd personal foul. To go along with his 5 points, 1:06 left in the first half. And Caleb Molesky gets an opportunity to score the basketball while the clock is stopped. And the Builders currently trailing by 12. First of 2 comes up short. Ken Smith and Fred Patterson into the ball game for the Builders and the Wildcats respectively. And Molesky misses them both, but Ely there to clean up the offensive glass, and it's poked out of bounds by Bullock. So the basketball will stay on the offensive end. 1:05 left in the basketball game. Shot clock at 20. Builders trailing still by 12. Molesky to Joyner. Ken Smith, seeing his first action of the afternoon into the ball game. Joyner surveys, finds Ely, who made the shot tougher than it should have been, and he's fouled. So he's going to be fouled by Bullock. So for Bullock, that is his 2nd personal foul. And that'll put Rashawn Ely at the free throw line. He's going to shoot 2 with the clock stopped. 46.7 seconds remaining. Wildcats leading by 12. So after these free throws, the Builders should at least have one more possession coming to them as Ely misses. That's 3 consecutive free throws missed now by the Builders. They have to convert on the freebies. And Ely makes the 2nd. Wildcat lead at 11. Hobson may want to get the ball out of his hands, and they do. Dunk is missed. Outlet to Ely. Guarded by Hobson. Bodied, no call. Ely misses. Ely, fight on the floor for the basketball. They call a jump, and the possession arrow is in favor of the Builders, so the Builders still not quite, at least I don't think. So the shot clock does not reset. So the Builders unable to hold the basketball for the remaining 27 seconds. There's about a 2, maybe a 1 to 2 point difference between the shot clock and the game clock.
Corner, go deep corner, deep corner, deep corner.
So Joyner holds, shot clock now at 10. Joyner a long way away from the basket, shot clock at 7. Not making a move yet, shot clock at 5, 4. Takes on the defense, dishes to Ely, who gets it up, and that's going to be a shot clock violation. So they'll probably be put about 1 to 1.9 seconds is going to be put back on the clock. And that last possession is going to go to the Wildcats heading into the locker room. So there's going to be somewhere between 1 to 1.9 seconds left when the shot clock violation happened. So 1.6 is what the official said to put back on the clock. So that's only enough to catch and just for them to just throw it and somebody just heave it. And it's no good if it goes as Hobson misses. But Hobson did not miss much in the first half as he takes his 20 points in the first half into the halftime locker room, and the crowd here is silent as the Builders make their way into the halftime locker room trailing by a score of 51-40. As things get kind of testy here, as each team makes their way into the halftime locker room, as the officials were eyeballing the staff, the coaching staff for the Builders. So hopefully things will get an opportunity to cool off as we get ready to go into the halftime locker room and before we come out for the second half. But right now the Builders trail by 11 here at the Apprentice School Athletic Center. Now, as far as seeding goes in the tournament, if the Builders want to overtake Johnson and Wales as far as seeding in the tournament, not only do they have to beat them by more than 8, they have to beat them by more than 8 in order for them to upset the seeding in the tournament. But the Builders have a huge task ahead of them, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a break, we're going to refresh ourselves, give you a break, go into this PSA, and then come back with the second half stats and we're going to get you set for game number 2, second half of game number 2, when we come back after this. So sit back and relax. Second half action coming up. This is Builder Basketball. Welcome back, everyone. We are about set to finish up halftime here at the Apprentice School Athletic Center, where the men currently trail by 11. 51-40 is our halftime score, and we're going to take this as a quick opportunity to kind of go over some stats from the game. Now, everyone can pretty much guess and tell who's the leading scorer for the Wildcats in this basketball game, and that is Hobson. He's currently sitting at 20 points. Leading rebounder for the visiting Wildcats is Zarian Wilkins. He has 3. The tale of the first half, of course, has been the three-point shot. Now, we already know that Johnson and Wales likes to shoot the three-point shot, and they've shot it to a tune of 44% in the first half. Anything around 36% is really, really well. These guys are shooting 44%. That's partially the tale of the game. But one of those hidden stats in the game that kind of tells the tale also is the number of turnovers and points off turnovers in this afternoon's basketball game. Now, the Builders have only turned the ball over 8 times, which is pretty good. But the Wildcats have been able to turn that into 16 points. So we have to shore that up a little bit as both teams are now back onto the court. As far as points in the paint, we're actually doing better points in the paint wise in this basketball game, as the Builders were able to have 20 of their total points in the paint, while the Wildcats only got 16 of theirs. So we are back out of the halftime locker room, and the Wildcats open up scoring as Bullock is able to bank it in for 2, and the Builders quickly turn the basketball over. Builders down by 13 as the offensive rebound is cleared by the Wildcats, and they turn that into a 3. So a quick 5-point trip down the floor for the Wildcats, and they've now extended their lead to 16. Hawkins with the basketball. Backdoor feed to Joyner, turnover. Here comes Bullock. Bullock weaving, finding Smith for the easy bank, and that's 7 quick points out of the halftime locker room for Johnson and Wales, and they now have their largest lead of the afternoon at 18. We're only 1 minute out of the locker room, and the Builders already have to take a timeout. So if there are any chances of the Builders getting back into this game early, they just kind of went away right there with how we came out in the second half. Builders were only down by 11 at the halftime break, now are down by 18. This is their largest deficit of the basketball game. Only 1 minute in, we've already allowed 7 points to the visiting Wildcats. We're yet to score. So Coach Sparks wants to get a timeout, get his team's head back into the basketball game. Both teams are now out of the timeout and back onto the floor. But man, oh man, this team scores quickly and they score in bunches. So we already had 2 made shots and 1 long 3-point shot to start the second half for the visiting Wildcats, as Marion Moore shot no good, rebound Wildcats. Here's Bullock to Hobson. Skip pass into the corner to Poole, who misses the 3-point try. Here comes Joyner. Joyner was hobbled in the first half, maybe took a knee or something to the thigh. Smith comes away with the loose ball. Bullock, dish to Hobson, misses. Smith thought he may have gone over the back on that rebound, but no call. Antonio Smith is about 6'7". So of course, when he jumps into the air, by the time he gets his hands on the basketball, he's probably somewhere close to 11 feet when he's fully extended and jumping for the basketball, and that's hard to contend with. Here's Hobson off of the screen, and they call a foul on Smith. So for Smith, that is his 3rd personal foul, and it was the foul situation that got him put on the bench early on in the basketball game. So if the Builders can somehow get him to commit his 4th, then maybe they can get that length out of the basketball game and onto the bench. Here's Joyner. Builders still yet to score. 2 minutes into the second half as Walton is harassed underneath and able to gather and hit the 2. So 58-42, 16-point deficit for the Builders. Here's Poole. Push. Offensive foul. So he was the one that did the pushing. So that's going to be an offensive foul on Marley Poole, but that will only be his first personal foul of the entire basketball game, so he is in no danger foul-wise. Here's Corey Joyner. 20 seconds on the shot clock to Walton. Walton pretty much takes on the entire team by himself, and we have a foul call. That foul is on Marion Moore.
Builder foul number 23, Marion Moore.
And for Marion Moore, that is his third personal foul. Marion only been able to contribute 1 point in this evening's basketball game. 58-42 is our score. Here's Hobson. That is a second made three-pointer by Kostick in this second half. And now the lead or the deficit for the Builders is now 19. So things trending in the wrong direction for the Builders here in the second half as the long rebound comes off and is lost out of bounds by the Wildcats. Molesky with the inbound. Joyner. Three-point shot goes down. So that's the first three-point make for a long time for the Builders in this basketball game, and they're down 9 by 16 as Bullock misses. Here's Joyner. Off of the screen from Walton, shot blocked, but the loose ball taken by Joyner, who misses himself. Here comes Bullock. Kick in the corner to Kostick, who hits again. And that pushes the deficit for the Builders back up to 19, 64-45. Kostick with his third three-point make of the second half. Three-point shot by Joyner hits the front of the rim, no good. Here comes Smith to Hobson, to Kostick. Long three-point shot comes off, but Smith there to clean it up, and the Builders now go down by 21. Builders playing a Johnson and Wales team that comes in with a load of confidence. And they're showing us why, as Hawkins misses. Molesky with the long rebound. Here's Joyner. Molesky, three try of his own, comes off long. Here comes Hobson. Kick in the corner. Here's Poole, whose shot misses. Here's Joyner. Hawkins steps through, shot contested, and they call a jump ball, and it is Builder basketball.
Sam Morris, Rashawn Ely back in the game for Builders.
Sam Morris and Rashawn Ely make their way into the basketball game as the Builders have seen an 11-point deficit balloon now to 21. Long three-point shot comes off. Rashawn Ely able to gather, hit, and get the and one. Still a lot of basketball left to be played. Builders can get themselves back into it. As Antonio Smith picks up his fourth personal foul. So they send a lot of length to the bench. He's 6'7". As Ely toes the line. Again, pulls the string on the free throw and unable to hit. So the lead is now 19 for the Wildcats. 66-47 is Bullock. Kicks in the corner to Hobson for three.
Three-pointer, Wilmer Hobson.
And that pushes the Wildcat lead to 22. 14:37 left in the basketball game. 20 seconds left on the shot clock. Builders having a tough time solving this man-to-man defense being put on right now by the Wildcats. 16 seconds on the shot clock. Here's Morris, shot clock at 5 to Joyner. Builders turn it over. So that only leaves 3 seconds left on the shot clock. That steal does not count as a change of possession. So that's going to leave the shot clock at 3 seconds. Even though they are up by 22, the Wildcats are not letting up on their defensive pressure. Here's Drew Walton in the corner with a miss. Here's Bullock. Bullock finds Caustic, who misses. Able to get the loose ball was the Wildcats, but Walton able to clear up the defensive glass. Brandon Caustic will be called for the foul. That is only his second in the game. He has 14 points. Again, he's come out here hot, and he's already hit three-point shots in the second half, which have contributed to this 22-point lead now being enjoyed by the Wildcats. Ely, baseline, misses. Walton is there, shot up and good. So Drew Walton continues to battle. So that will be Brandon Caustic's foul. He'll pick up his third. As Drew Walton steps in to shoot one. And he makes it. So the lead down to 19 for the Wildcats as Hobson works on Molesky. Again, Hobson plays with a lot of confidence. Here's Poole, shot clock at 12. Kick out to Caustic, shot clock at 10. Caustic off the front end. Here's Joyner. Morris steps through. Tough shot, able to hit as he faded across the lane. And we get a timeout. Timeout being taken by the visiting Wildcats, as the Wildcats are right now sitting on a 17-point lead. Dan Larkin, again, in only his second season at the helm for the Wildcats. His Wildcats are having a very, very good season right now. Again, coming into this afternoon's game at 20-3 on the season, 6-0 in conference, and again, ranked number 1 in the USCAA conference, and we're getting a taste of why. This is a team that likes to get up and down the floor, like to shoot a lot of threes, and the thing about it is when they shoot a lot of threes, they make a lot of threes. Caustic and both him and Hobson have done a great job of just pouring in a three against our defense. For the Builders, they're down right now by 17. You can only try to get into the game one possession at a time. Trust me, there is no 17-point shot in basketball. So we have to play really solid defense, get stops, and convert when we get our opportunity. So we've seen Rashawn Ely and we've seen Drew Walton get to the basket, hit the basket and the foul. Walton able to complete the three-point play, not so much for Ely. All right, both teams are back out of the timeout and back on the court. 13:06 remaining in the basketball game. Huge uphill climb ahead of the Builders, down by 17 as they turn up the defensive pressure. Looked like Caustic may have traveled, but there's no call.
Delay of game warning, Wildcats.
So we get a delay of game warning issued to the Wildcats of touching the basketball after it went through the basket. Here's Joyner. Builders down by 19. Joyner to Ely. Looking for Walton. Here's Morris. Nothing doing as the defense for the Wildcats is pretty good. Shot clock at 5. Dish underneath to Walton. Good job of just being patient in the half court that time with the Builders until a better shot presented itself. Joyner able to find Walton for the easy layup. Here's Hobson. Hobson with the step through, unable to hit. Here comes Morris. 12-12 remaining in the first in the basketball game. Sorry. Morris, tough shot. Look for the foul, didn't get it. 71-54. Bullet. Shot rejected by Ely. Here comes Molesky. Step through. Layup is good with the left hand, and the Builders are now down by 15. As Hobson works with the basketball. Hobson has 23. 20 seconds on the shot clock. Bullet to Kostick. Shot, ball deflected. Here's Ely. Builders working. Ely. No foul call. I thought that Kostick got him across the arm. But as it goes, it's going to be knocked out of bounds by Kostick. We'll take a seat. As P.J. Hill and Fred Patterson make their way into the ball game. Builders trailing by 15 with the basketball. Here's Morris to Walton. Double team. Able to step through. Shot up off the glass and one. And the Builders need every three-point opportunity they can get down the stretch here, as Walton is set to go back to the line again to try and complete the three-point play and cut deeper into this Wildcat lead. So the Wildcat lead now sits at 13 as C.J. Miller makes his way onto the floor. For the Wildcats, Drew Walton will step to the line. $11:18 remaining. Walton misses. So the deficit stays at 13, 71-58. Builders turn up the defensive pressure. And they get a turnover. Here's Joyner. Morris. Shot blocked. Loose ball comes off to the Wildcats. And we get a foul on the defensive end on Caleb Molesky. So the Builders did everything right as far as creating the turnover. Just unable to do much with the basketball after they got it. So P.J. Gill will step to the line to shoot two. 10:50 remaining in the basketball game. The Wildcats up by 13. And that's where it stays. Marion Moore will come in for Sam Morris. And the Builder deficit is now 13. 14, 72-58 is the score. Builders trail by 14 here at the Apprentice School Athletic Center. Walton to Ely for three. Three ball just not falling this evening for the Builders. They've been there, they just haven't fallen. As a wild shot by P.J. Gill misses, Ely with the dunk on the other end. So the deficit now to 12. As Brandon with the steal. Direction, that's Corey with the steal. Tough teardrop shot, no good, comes off. Shot by Ely, no good. Marion Moore with the muscle, able to get it back, but unable to convert. And that's kind of been the way it is for the Builders here in the second half as we get a timeout. 30-second timeout being called by the Wildcats. And the Builders are getting the opportunities, We just have to convert. Oh my gosh, it's been an entertaining basketball game, but if you're a fan of the Builders, it's been both entertaining and it's been frustrating as well. You can see the Builders fighting. They are fighting in this basketball game, there's no doubt about that. But when they throw the punch and they get the opponent on the ropes, you gotta finish him off, and you finish this opponent off by making shots. We've been getting the basketball in turnovers and missed shots, but on the offensive end, just unable to convert. That was a tough possession just then. You make that one, you get the lead down under 10, but as it goes, they convert on the other end, and now the lead is up to 14. The Builders still fighting, still a ton of time left in this basketball game, 9:48 remaining. Builders still with 4 timeouts. So let's just keep fighting, Builders, and see what things look like around about the 5-minute mark. If the Builders want to have a realistic shot of winning the ball game, they have to get this lead at or under 10 by the 5-minute mark. Both teams are out of the timeout, making their way onto the floor. Let's see what happens. .45 remaining. Here's Joyner with the basketball. Tracked down by Joyner right in front of us. 15 seconds left on the shot clock. Builders down by 14. Joyner step through. Tough shot. Scrum on the floor. And we're going to get a timeout. So Johnson and Wales were able to control the basketball just enough to get a timeout called. So that's going to be a 30-second timeout, 9:22 left. Builders still trail by 14. Ball now back with the Wildcats. And again, the Builders are fighting, ladies and gentlemen. They have not, look, they were down by 21 at one point in this basketball game. You can actually hear some of the Johnson and Wales players starting to talk a lot of trash, saying that these guys are just ready to go home. But they aren't ready to go home. They were able to trim 10 points off of that lead and get it down to 11. It sits going back up to 14, but the Builders are fighting. And if you're Coach Tim Sparks, that's exactly what you want to see out of your squad, that even though the scoreboard doesn't say it, it's not over. P.J. Gill gives off to C.J. Miller, shot clock at 20. Gill being guarded by Ely, shot clock at 15. Marion Moore uses the body on defense and creates the turnover. Here comes Molesky. And once again, the Builders unable to do anything after playing strong on the defensive end, and they give up an easy 2 in transition. So now the lead is back up to 16. Molesky. And he's fouled. So count the basket. Molesky with the and 1. That foul is going to go on Fred Patterson. That'll be his second personal foul. He's yet to score in the basketball game. As Marley Poole and DeAndre Williams make their way into the ball game, 8:43 remaining. Caleb Molesky with an opportunity to complete the three-point play and trim this lead to 13. And he does that. So the Builders not out of it yet. Plenty of time remaining as the Builders turn up the pressure on defense. Ball is poked out of bounds, actually lost out of bounds by the Wildcats. So the pressure defense really affecting the Wildcats in this basketball game. Here's here's Molesky. Wild shot, he hit the side of the backboard, and the Wildcats come back. Joyner with the strip. Back to Joyner to Molesky. Molesky, foul. DeAndre Williams with the foul. So that will only be his first personal foul, but what that does is it put Molesky back at the free throw line. So for the Wildcats, that will be their 8th team foul, which means for the remaining 8:08 of the game, the Builders have an opportunity to score the basketball while the clock is stopped, which is extremely important. Molesky hits the first of two. A 12-point game now, 76-64, Wildcats leading. An eternity of basketball still left to be played as Molesky hits them both. So it's now an 11-point game as Avon Hawkins makes his way into the ball game. The Builders have an opportunity, but they have to not only take care of the basketball, but they have to convert on the offensive end when the opportunities present themselves. Williams, kick to Miller. Missed everything, and it went out of bounds last touch by a Builder. Shot clock does not reset. There's no, the shot clock should be correct. The ball did not hit anything, so there is no reset of the shot clock. So 7:51 stays on the game clock, 13 seconds remains on the shot clock. Here's Gill. Down low to Miller. Miller against Drew Walton. Marion Moore comes away with the basketball. Avon in the corner, three goes down. That kind of shot right there, they call that home cooking. Rim just soft and kind enough for us as it is for them on the other end. And right when we get back in it with a three, we give up another three, but Rashawn Ely gets the snowball pass from down court, and the lead is down to 9. So the Builders continue to fight and scrap against a very good Johnson & Wales basketball team here at home, and that is, they say it's knocked out of bounds by the Builders. So Coach Larkin quickly counters with his starters as Hobson, Kostick, and Bullock make their way into the basketball game. Wildcat lead now down by 9. Here's Hobson. Again, he has the green light. Can shoot anytime he wants, and he commits the offensive foul. So for Hobson, that is his 4th. So that is Hobson's 4th personal foul, ladies and gentlemen. We're at the 6:50 mark. If I am the Builders, I go straight at Hobson. If they're able to get him off of the court, that is huge. So 6:42 remaining, Builders down by 9. They don't need a three-point shot here. Ball was kicked, so that'll reset the shot clock to 20. So the Builders don't need a three. They just need to continue to score points in the paint. And remember, at the halftime break, they were actually leading in that category 20-16. So they are able to get to the basket. They just have to finish. Marion Moore. Inside, shot up and good. So a 21-point lead at one point by the Wildcats is now trimmed to 7. And Rashawn Ely gets the foul call off of a long three-point try by Hobson.
Robert Hobson at the line for the Wildcats shooting 3.
So Hobson will get a chance to go to the line and shoot 3. And if he makes them all, that pushes this 7-point lead back up to 10. Hobson now with 26 on the afternoon. Remember, he has 4 fouls, and he misses the second. So the deficit still ahead of the Builders is 9 points. Again, Hobson with 27, but more importantly, 4 fouls. So he's going to have to lay off somewhat on defense if he's going to stay on the floor. So if you're the Builders, go right at him and force him to make a decision whether he's going to play defense or give up that final foul. Ely with the basketball, deep underneath the basket, able to get the conversion. So 81-74, 7-point deficit by the Builders. Long three-point shot, nowhere near the basket for Hobson. Ahead to Ely with the dunk on the other end. So the Builders now down by 5. As the crowd starts to get into it, and chance of defense starting to come down from the rafters. Here's Hobson, who loses it to Ely. Builders push it. Joyner to Moore. Moore tipped out of bounds by Hobson. So you don't see the Wildcats. You don't see the Wildcats talking now, ladies and gentlemen, as we get a timeout. 30-second timeout being called by the Builders as we come back to courtside. And you can see a lot of the trash talking that was going forward for the Wildcats has really calmed down. You've watched the Builders slowly and methodically lose a 21-point, well, not lose a 21-point lead, but find themselves down by 21 to slowly and methodically get that 21-point lead down to a 5-point deficit. So there's only a 2-possession ball game, 5:18 left. Builders still have 3 timeouts, so there's a lot of time and a lot of timeouts. If you are the Builders have done a great job of not settling for the 3 while they were down by 21. They continue to drive the ball inside, get the ball up and off the glass for the and one opportunity, and for the most part, they have converted the majority of them. So down the stretch in this 5:18, if they're Coach Sparks, that's what you want your team to continue to do. Continue to work the ball into the lane, and maybe, just maybe, you can get Hobson to make a bad decision with that 5th and final foul and get him out of the basketball game. Timeout is over. We're headed back to the court. 81-76 is our score, as you see in the upper part of your screen there. 5:18 left to play. Shot clock is at 23, plenty of time, no rush. Hawkins, long 3, he's fouled. So Avon Hawkins will get an opportunity to go to the free throw line to shoot 3, and more importantly, the clock is stopped. So if he is able to hit all 3, the Builders are now down by just 2. So, of course, the gymnasium is going to give him every ounce of respect that they can possibly give him, as it goes definitely silent as Antonio Smith tries to make his way back into the ball game, but not just yet. He himself has 4 fouls, so the foul total is starting to build up a little bit. Down the stretch for the Wildcats as Antonio Smith, he comes in, he has 4. He replaces Zarian Wilkins, who also has 4. And Hawkins hits all 3. 81-79. Builders have fought all the way back from being down 21 to just being down by 2. Hobson, 4 personal fouls. He has to be careful on both ends of the court. Here's Costa. You have to stick close to him. He can hit the 3. Here's Bullock. Shot clock at 6. And they lose it. Hawkins, down court. Shot above the glass and good, and we are tied. New energy in the arena. Score is now 81. 81, no one is winning, no one is losing, as another turnover nearly happens, but Hobson able to track it down. You know he wants the 3. And he's fouled. They're going to get Brandon Joyner with the reach in. I don't know if Hobson was in the act of shooting. Yep, he was. So Hobson goes to the line with an opportunity to shoot 2.
Robert Hobson at the line, 2 shots.
4:22 remaining, 81-81. Builders showing a lot of heart and a lot of fight. as Hobson makes the first of two. So 82-81 is our score. Builders trail here at home by 1. Make it 2. Here's Joyner. 4:19 left in the ball game. And the Builders are back in the ball game. Joyner off of a screen from Walton and Moore. Here's Hawkins. Hawkins, who hit 3 big free throws, is fouled, and he gets the and 1. Folks, what an effort. What an effort by the Builders, who not only have overcome a 21-point deficit, they now have tied it and get an opportunity to take the lead off of an Avon Hawkins made free throw here at the 4:04 mark. Kostick has picked up his 4th. And the Builders have the lead. So as Johnson and Wales goes on offense, their scorers, their big-time scorers, Hobson for 3 misses. Kostick, he has 4. Hobson has 4. Shot goes down for Poole. So Kostick has 4. Hobson has 4. Antonio Smith has 4. The Builders have to get one of these guys off the court with that 5th foul, and you get that by doing just that right there. Going to the basket with the basketball, and we have, I thought it was a foul, but Drew Walton stepped out of bounds. So I like the effort. I like the game plan that the Builders have decided. We're not taking any jump shots. We are going to take the ball to the basket and force some of these players to make a choice with that 5th and final foul. Smith with the putback. So just like that, the Builders go from being up by 1 to down by 3. And we get a technical foul. So the technical foul call is going to be charged on the coach, Dan Larkin. So the Builders get an opportunity at the free throw line. So this is a 2-shot technical, I believe, as Hawkins hits the first. So that makes it 87-85. Builders down by 2, and after this free throw attempt, the Builders get the ball right back. Hawkins makes them both. That is 5 big free throw makes in a row by Hawkins. Builders only down by 1, 3:01 remaining. Now the technical foul was called after the ball was already over half court. So they have to reset the inbound. So the Builders don't have, oh yes they do. I thought the Builders did not have use of the entire court to get the ball into play, but they do. 20 seconds on the shot clock, 2:54 on the game clock. Here's Ely. Builders have been better suited taking the ball to the basket, creating an opportunity for the and 1. So if you're Joyner, you want to get into the paint. Hawkins. Tough shot, that's going to be short. If you're the Builders, again, you have 3 players on the court that have 4 fouls. If they want to stay on the floor, they pretty much have to let you do a blow-by to get to the rim. Builders down by 1. Long 3-point attempt. No good. Smith used every inch of his 6'7" length to come down with that long rebound. Builders back down by 3. Here's Moore, who turns it over. Joyner allows the blow-by of Poole, and the Builders are now down by 5. We're now under 2 minutes left in the basketball game. You have to be aware of game situation and know that the Builders have 3 players they're playing against with 4 fouls. So these guys have to lay off on offense, on defense, if they're going to stay on the floor. As you saw there, Hobson simply let Hawkins go right by. And the Builders still unable to do anything with it on the offensive end. Here's Costa. Poole hits for 3. And the Builders are now down by 8. Very good shooting free team from the outside. The ball goes off of Ely out of bounds at 1:13. Builders down by 8. And I think we're going to get a. I think we're going to get a technical foul. Okay, so the technical foul is going to be waved off by the official. The official thought there may have been a confrontation on the floor, but it wasn't. So they're not going to issue the technicals. It looked like they were going to issue a technical on both teams, but they decided to not issue that technical foul. So instead, Avon Hawkins and I believe Antonio Smith, who was the other player for Johnson Wales, neither one will be assessed a technical foul. But we saw the Builders fight all the way back, take the lead, and quickly surrender the lead. Now they're back down by 8 points with 1:13 remaining in the basketball game. So it's not over. Again, as long as the three-point line is in effect, Builders still have an opportunity. But it's a steep uphill climb for the Builders as the long outlet comes to Poole. Ball stripped by Caleb Molesky. 1:08 remaining. 26 seconds left on the shot clock. Drew Walton will make his way into the ball game for Caleb Molesky. As Bullock is set to inbound. 1:08 left. Builders trail by 8. Here's Hobson with the inbound. Builders deciding to not foul as we're now down to 1 minute remaining in the basketball game. Builders down by 4 possessions. So if they haven't fouled by now, you may as well not. Shot clock at 10. Hobson is going to more than, and he's fouled by Ely. So Hobson got exactly what he wanted out of that possession. He wanted to eat up clock and get an opportunity to score. Correction, that was only the 6th team foul, so no foul shots yet. Builders still have, I believe, one more to give? Hobson with the basketball. Turns it over. Here's Brandon Joyner to Hawkins. Step back 3, no good. Long rebound comes off to Hobson. And we have a foul call on Marion Moore, 32 seconds remaining in the basketball game, and the Builders are down by 8. So the long walk from one end of the court to the other for the Wildcats. Hobson, who has 29 points in the basketball game, looks to add to that point total. He misses. Here's Walton. 30 seconds remaining in the ball game. Here's Joyner to Molesky, who takes it all the way to the rack for 2. So 94-88. And they call the foul in the backcourt on Molesky. 23.3 remaining as we walk to the other end of the court. Builders trail by 6. Ely. Robert Hobson, onto the floor for Molesky. Here's Hobson, who makes the front end of 2. 95-88 Wildcats over the Builders to 23.3 seconds remaining. And he hits the second. 8-point lead now by the Wildcats as Joyner stops, misses, but Moore there to clean it up, and we get a timeout. So the Builders down by 2 possessions. 96-90, 16.6 seconds left. So of course the Builders plan here after the timeout is to try to extend this 16.6 seconds as best they possibly can. The only way you can do that is by, of course, committing fouls, hoping that these guys will miss their free throws and give the Builders another opportunity with the basketball on the offensive end. So a tall task ahead of the Builders is an impossible no. Again, as long as there's a three-point line here in college basketball, no game is over. All right, so Builders down by 6, two-possession basketball game. Tim Sparks has already told his team what he wants out of them, and the Wildcats will be making their way back out onto the court. So 16.6 seconds left. Builders trail by 6, 96-90. Let's finish up this last 16.6. Builders with a full court press. Hobson. Builders say that Hobson stepped out. Ball goes out of bounds off of the missed dunk. 8.3 seconds remaining. Molesky inbound to Joyner. Here's Joyner to Hawkins. Three-point shot up. I think it's going to be short, and it is. Back to Hawkins. 3, 2, and that'll probably be the last shot of the basketball game, and it is. So Johnson and Wales finishes off the Builders for the final 96-90 here at the Apprentice School Athletic Center. Welcome back to the sideline with me, Howard McCain. Thank you so much for joining us. Entertaining couple of games tonight. Boy, oh boy, you're talking about ebbs and flows of a basketball game. You got it right here with the men's game. Right when it looked like the men had pretty much got into an unovercomable situation, being down by 21, able to fight all the way back, even take the lead in the basketball game. Looked like all the momentum was theirs, but Johnson & Wales was able to do just enough to separate themselves from the Builders and walk out of the Apprentice School Athletic Center with a 96-90 win. Coach Dan Larkin, in his second season as the head coach of the Wildcats, sees his team improve their overall record to 21-3, 7-0 in the conference. For the Builders, their overall record now is 13-11, and they fall to 5-2 in the conference. Very good, very entertaining basketball game. A lot of energy, a lot of up and down, and a lot of three-point shots. But as it goes, Johnson & Wales comes in and they sweep this afternoon's doubleheader, the women winning earlier and the men winning later. So we thank you so much for joining us. Very entertaining basketball game. Again, want to thank Bayport Credit Union for all that they do for athletic sports in the Apprentice School, for all the support that they've given this school over the years. Thank you so much, Bayport. We really do appreciate you. So that will do it here from the Apprentice School Athletic Center as the Johnson & Wales Wildcats come in and take 2 from the Apprentice School. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Be back with us real soon for more Builder basketball. So until then, keep in mind, this is Builder basketball.